The Academy's grand hallway stretched endlessly before Commander Lucas Mitchell, as his polished boots clicked against marble floors. Queen Isabella's personal directive echoed in his mind. Guard the human girl discreetly. Report everything. The alien students parted like water as he approached, their scaled skin and crystalline features catching the afternoon light streaming through towering windows. Maya Thompson sat alone in the corner of the advanced physics classroom, her Earth Standard tablet looking primitive against the holographic displays surrounding her alien classmates. The Velarian students whispered in their melodic language, pointing at her simple clothing and outdated technology. Professor Zent's 4 eyes fixed on Maya with barely concealed disdain. Miss Thompson, perhaps you could enlighten us about quantum resonance patterns. The professor's voice carried a mocking undertone that made Lucas's jaw tighten behind his ceremonial mask. Maya stood slowly, her fingers trembling against her tablet. On Earth, we understand quantum mechanics through mathematical models rather than sensory perception like Velarians. The resonance patterns would theoretically appear as wave functions that collapse when observed. The classroom erupted in chittering laughter. A tall Velarian student named Krex rose from his crystalline seat. How quaint. Humans still rely on primitive calculations instead of simply feeling the quantum field. Lucas watched Maya's shoulders sag. The girl had been brought to this academy as part of the intergalactic exchange program, but her acceptance was purely political. The Velarian Empire needed Earth's rare minerals, and Queen Isabella had insisted on educational reciprocity. Professor Zent's tentacles writhed with amusement. Indeed, Miss Thompson, your species' limitations are quite evident. Perhaps you should return to your basic mathematics courses. The humiliation struck Maya like a physical blow. Her face flushed red as 30 alien faces stared at her, with mixtures of pity and contempt. Lucas felt his protective instinct surge, but protocol demanded silence. Guard and observe, nothing more. Maya gathered her materials with shaking hands. I understand, Professor. I'll request a transfer immediately. Wise decision, Kex added loudly. Humans simply lack the neural capacity for advanced studies. It's genetics, not effort. Lucas watched the girl flee the classroom, her quiet sobs echoing in the corridor. Every fiber of his training screamed against following her, but Queen Isabella's orders were absolute. Protect through distance. Observe without interfering. The royal guard shadowed Maya through the Academy's winding passages as she headed toward the administrative tower. Her footsteps faltered near the memorial wall, where portraits of distinguished alumni gazed down with alien eyes. No human face appeared among them. Maya stopped at a bench beneath the great skylight, pulling out a communication device to contact her family on Earth. Her fingers hovered over the screen before she set it aside, unable to voice her failure across the vast distance of space. Lucas positioned himself behind a pillar, his enhanced hearing catching her whispered words. I don't belong here. They're right about humans being inferior. Maybe I should just go home. A group of Velarian seniors approached, led by the Academy's star student Nyx. Her iridescent scales caught the light as she addressed Maya with false kindness. We heard about your performance in quantum physics. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable in our basic life sciences program. I already have advanced degrees in biochemistry and theoretical physics from Earth's top universities, Maya replied quietly. Nyx's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Earth credentials hardly translate to real academic achievement. Your professors probably gave you participation awards. Lucas felt his fists clench involuntarily. The girl's academic records were exceptional by any standard. Queen Isabella herself had reviewed Maya's credentials before approving her admission. We could help you find more suitable accommodations, another Velarian student suggested with mock sympathy. The maintenance sector has openings for manual labor positions. Maya stood abruptly, her chin lifting with sudden determination. I earned my place here through merit, not charity. My research on cross-species genetic compatibility contributed to the peace treaties between Earth and 17 alien civilizations. The Velarian students exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from amusement to uncertainty. Lucas leaned forward, recognizing something dangerous in the girl's tone. You're claiming your primitive human science influenced interstellar diplomacy? Nyx's voice carried a sharp edge. Maya's composure cracked completely. My work didn't just influence diplomacy. It prevented 3 separate wars by proving that genetic fear-mongering was scientifically baseless. The quarantine protocols that nearly destroyed human-alien relations were built on lies. The corridor fell silent. Several passing students stopped to listen, their alien features registering shock at Maya's bold claims. Lucas felt a chill run down his spine as he recognized the implications of her words. Nyx stepped closer, her scales darkening with anger. Those protocols were established by the highest scientific authorities to protect genetic purity across species lines. They were established by politicians using manipulated data to control populations through fear, Maya shot back, her voice carrying clearly through the marble halls. I have the original research files to prove it. Lucas reached for his communication device, knowing that Queen Isabella needed to hear this immediately. The girl wasn't just making wild accusations. She was revealing classified information that could destabilize the entire intergalactic political structure. The Queen answered his call within seconds, her voice crisp through the encrypted channel. Commander Mitchell, report. Your Majesty, the human girl has made statements regarding the quarantine protocols. She claims to possess evidence of data manipulation. Queen Isabella's silence stretched for long seconds before she spoke again, her words carrying the weight of absolute authority. Bring her to the throne room immediately. Allow no one else to hear what she has already said. Lucas stepped from behind the pillar, his ceremonial armor gleaming as he approached the stunned group of students. Miss Thompson, Her Majesty requests your immediate presence. Maya's defiance crumbled as she recognized the Royal Guard's insignia. The Velarian students backed away, suddenly understanding that they had witnessed something far beyond Academy gossip. Nyx's voice cracked with uncertainty. Commander, surely this is just a confused human making desperate claims. Lucas fixed his gaze on each alien student in turn, his silence more threatening than any spoken warning. Return to your dormitories. Speak of this conversation to no one. The students scattered like startled birds, leaving Maya alone with the Queen's most trusted guardian. She looked up at his masked face with fearful eyes. Am I in trouble? Lucas considered his words carefully. 20 years of royal service had taught him to recognize moments that changed history. That depends entirely on whether you can prove what you just claimed. Maya's trembling hand moved to a hidden data chip sewn into her jacket's lining. Every classified file, every manipulated study, every fabricated genetic analysis that led to the protocols. I've been carrying the evidence since I left Earth. The Royal Guard felt the weight of destiny settling around them like a shroud. Queen Isabella's true intentions for bringing Maya to the Academy suddenly became clear. This had never been about education or cultural exchange. Your Majesty knew, Maya whispered, reading his silence correctly. She knew what I was carrying. Lucas nodded slowly. Queen Isabella knows many things that others believe hidden. The question now is whether you're prepared for what comes next. Maya straightened her shoulders, and for the first time since arriving at the Academy, she looked like the brilliant scientist whose research had shaped interstellar policy. I've been prepared my entire life. Then we go to the Queen. The throne room's soaring architecture dwarfed everyone who entered, designed to humble even the proudest alien ambassadors. Queen Isabella sat motionless on her crystal throne, her human form appearing deceptively fragile among the chamber's alien grandeur. Her piercing blue eyes tracked Maya's approach with predatory intensity. Lucas escorted the girl across polished floors that reflected their images like a dark mirror. Maya's footsteps echoed with each nervous step, while the commander's boots maintained their steady rhythm. Ancient tapestries depicting humanity's rise to galactic prominence lined the walls, telling stories of conquest through diplomacy rather than warfare. Your Majesty, Lucas announced formally. Maya Thompson as requested. The Queen studied the girl for long moments before speaking. Dr. Thompson, your academic credentials are impressive for someone so young. Dual doctorates by age 22. Remarkable. Maya's confusion was evident. You know about my degrees? I know everything about you, child. Your research, your family, your motivations for accepting this academy placement. Queen Isabella rose from her throne with fluid grace. I also know what you're carrying. The girl's hand moved instinctively toward her hidden data chip. How? Because I'm the one who ensured you obtained those classified files. The Queen's statement hit the throne room like a thunderclap. Did you truly believe a human graduate student could access the most sensitive genetic research in the galaxy by accident? Maya staggered backward, her mind reeling. You used me. I gave you the tools to expose a conspiracy that threatens every species in this galaxy. Queen Isabella descended the steps toward them, her expression fierce with barely controlled anger. The quarantine protocols aren't just built on lies, Dr. Thompson. They're designed to justify genocide. Lucas felt pieces of a vast puzzle clicking into place. The Queen's seemingly inexplicable decision to accept human students at the Academy. Her insistence on discreet protection for Maya. The careful timing of everything. The Velarian Science Council fabricated genetic incompatibility data to support species segregation policies, Queen Isabella continued. But segregation was never their end goal. They're planning systematic elimination of what they consider genetically inferior species. Maya's voice came out as a whisper. Starting with humans. Humans, Zephyrians, crystalline collective members, anyone who doesn't possess natural psychic abilities or enhanced physical capabilities. The Queen's words carried the weight of absolute certainty. Your research proves that genetic diversity strengthens interstellar civilization rather than threatening it. The throne room fell silent, except for the soft hum of environmental systems. Lucas processed the implications of everything he'd learned. Queen Isabella hadn't just been protecting one human student. She'd been orchestrating the exposure of an intergalactic conspiracy. Why not reveal this information yourself? Maya asked. Queen Isabella's smile held no warmth. Because accusations from the human queen would be dismissed as political maneuvering. But scientific evidence presented by a brilliant young researcher whose work is already recognized galaxy-wide, that carries moral authority no politician can challenge. Maya straightened, understanding flooding her features. You want me to present my findings at the Galactic Science Symposium next week. I want you to save billions of lives by proving that fear-based genetic policies are scientifically baseless and politically motivated. The question is whether you have the courage to stand before the galaxy's greatest scientific minds and call them conspirators. Lucas watched Maya weigh her options. The girl could refuse and return to Earth safely, leaving others to fight this battle. Or she could risk everything, to expose a truth that would reshape interstellar civilization. They'll try to discredit me, Maya said finally. Question my credentials, my methods, my conclusions. Undoubtedly. Queen Isabella's voice softened with genuine respect. That's why I'm offering you something unprecedented. Royal protection during your presentation. Full access to the palace's scientific analysis facilities to verify your data. And a platform that reaches every inhabited world simultaneously. Maya pulled the data chip from its hiding place, holding it up to catch the throne room's ethereal light. This information implicates 4 major galactic governments and dozens of respected scientists, which is precisely why it must be revealed by someone with unquestionable integrity. The Queen gestured toward Lucas. Commander Mitchell will serve as your personal guardian throughout the symposium. His presence alone will signal that the human crown stands behind your research. Lucas felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Protecting one girl at an academy was simple compared to guarding her against the combined resources of multiple alien governments. Your Majesty, he said carefully, the security implications are significant. They are indeed. Queen Isabella's expression turned granite hard, which is why I'm also providing you with full diplomatic immunity and authorization to use any means necessary to ensure Dr. Thompson's safety. Maya looked between the Queen and her guardian, suddenly understanding the magnitude of what she was agreeing to undertake. If I do this, everything changes. Not just for humans, but for every species affected by the protocols. Everything changes regardless, the Queen replied. The only question is whether change comes through revelation of truth or through carefully orchestrated extinction campaigns. The girl closed her eyes, and Lucas could see her mentally reviewing everything she'd endured at the academy. The humiliation, the dismissal, the casual cruelty of students and professors who considered humans inherently inferior. All those Velarian students who mocked my work, Maya said slowly. They genuinely believed their superiority is scientific fact. They'd been conditioned to believe it through generations of manipulated education. Queen Isabella leaned forward. Your research doesn't just challenge their assumptions, Dr. Thompson. It proves they've been weaponized by their own leaders. Maya opened her eyes, and Lucas saw transformation in her gaze. The frightened girl who'd fled the physics classroom was gone, replaced by someone who understood her true purpose. I'll do it. I'll present the evidence at the symposium. She faced the Queen directly. But I want guarantees, not just for my safety, but for the safety of every human on Earth if this goes wrong. You have my word, as Queen of the Human Empire. Isabella's voice carried the weight of binding oath. Earth will be protected regardless of the consequences. Lucas stepped forward. Dr. Thompson, you should understand that once this information becomes public, there's no returning to your previous life. You'll be either celebrated as the scientist who saved galactic civilization or hunted as a traitor who destroyed interstellar peace. Maya smiled for the first time since entering the throne room. Commander, I stopped believing in the possibility of a normal life the moment I discovered that respected scientists were willing to fabricate data to justify genocide. The Queen rose again, and this time her movement carried ceremonial significance. Then let us prepare to change the galaxy. The Galactic Science Symposium's massive auditorium stretched beyond visual limits, its crystalline architecture designed to accommodate thousands of delegates from hundreds of species. Maya stood in the preparation chamber, reviewing her presentation one final time while Lucas monitored security feeds on his tactical display. 15 minutes until your presentation, he announced quietly. The auditorium is at capacity. Every major news network is broadcasting live across 47 star systems. Maya nodded absently, her attention focused on data streams flowing across portable screens. The genetic diversity calculations are solid. The historical analysis is irrefutable. The fabricated research trails are documented with source codes. Lucas watched her transform into full professional mode, impressed despite himself at her composure under pressure. 3 days of intensive preparation had turned the nervous academy student into a confident scientist, ready to challenge the galaxy's most fundamental assumptions. Dr. Thompson, came the symposium coordinator's voice through the chamber's communication system. 2 minutes to presentation. Maya gathered her materials and faced Lucas directly. Commander, whatever happens in there, I want you to know that Queen Isabella chose well. Your presence has made this possible. The Queen chose well in selecting you, Doctor. Lucas activated his ceremonial armor's full display mode, transforming from discreet guardian into unmistakable royal representative. Now let's make history. They emerged into the auditorium to stunned silence. Maya's human appearance drew immediate attention, but Lucas's gleaming royal insignia caused a wave of murmurs through the assembled delegates. The human queen's personal guard accompanying a scientific presenter, Professor Zenth sat in the front row with other academy administrators, his expression shifting from confusion to growing alarm as he recognized his former student. The Velarian Science Council occupied an entire section, their scaled faces reflecting careful neutrality. Maya approached the central podium with steady steps, her voice carrying clearly through the auditorium's advanced acoustics. Esteemed colleagues, I come before you today not as a human seeking acceptance, but as a scientist presenting evidence that challenges our most basic assumptions about genetic compatibility between species. Lucas positioned himself at the chamber's focal point, his presence ensuring that every delegate understood the presentation's official backing. His enhanced hearing caught whispered conversations throughout the audience as recognition dawned. For 3 centuries, interstellar civilization has operated under quarantine protocols, supposedly designed to protect genetic purity across species lines. Maya's presentation began with historical context, establishing the foundation for everything that would follow. These protocols have shaped immigration policy, interspecies marriage laws, and educational opportunities throughout the galaxy. Visual displays materialized above the audience, showing complex genetic analysis charts and comparative species data. Maya's research appeared in formats that even non-specialists could understand, building her argument methodically. However, recent analysis of the original research underlying these protocols reveals systematic data manipulation spanning multiple governmental agencies and scientific institutions. Maya's voice remained steady despite the explosive nature of her claims. The evidence suggests deliberate fabrication of genetic incompatibility results. The auditorium erupted. Delegates shouted questions and objections in dozens of languages while journalists activated emergency broadcasts. Lucas remained motionless, his calm presence providing an anchor of stability amid the chaos. Maya waited for quiet before continuing. I will now present documented proof that the quarantine protocols are not scientifically based, but rather represent a coordinated effort to justify species-based discrimination through manufactured fear. The next 20 minutes transformed galactic history. Maya's systematic destruction of centuries-old scientific assumptions left delegates speechless with each new revelation. Fabricated genetic markers, manipulated statistical models, falsified research conclusions bearing the signatures of respected scientists. Professor Zenth attempted to interrupt during the presentation's climax. This is preposterous. A human graduate student cannot possibly have access to classified research spanning multiple governments. Maya's response was immediate and devastating. Professor, you're correct that a human graduate student shouldn't have such access. However, a human scientist working under direct commission from the human crown definitely should. The revelation that Maya's research carried official royal backing sent shockwaves through the assembly. Lucas stepped forward slightly, his ceremonial sword glinting in the auditorium's lighting as he reinforced the presentation's authority. Furthermore, Maya continued, this research was conducted with full knowledge and support of Queen Isabella herself, who suspected the protocol's fraudulent nature based on her own intelligence network's findings. The Velarian Science Council section erupted in heated discussion. Several delegates attempted to leave but found their paths blocked by symposium security acting on Lucas's prior arrangements with Queen Isabella. Maya concluded her presentation with devastating finality. The evidence shows beyond doubt that genetic diversity strengthens interstellar civilization rather than threatening it. The quarantine protocols represent the galaxy's greatest scientific fraud, designed to support political objectives through manufactured prejudice. The auditorium fell silent as the implications settled over thousands of assembled delegates. Lucas watched carefully as various species representatives processed information that would reshape their understanding of galactic civilization's foundation. An elderly crystalline collective researcher rose slowly from her seat. Dr. Thompson, if your findings are accurate, this suggests conspiracy involving the highest levels of multiple governments. That is exactly what this evidence suggests, Maya replied without hesitation. And this conspiracy appears designed to justify policies that would ultimately result in systematic elimination of genetically diverse species. Lucas felt the moment's historical weight as Maya's words echoed through chambers that would carry them across the galaxy. Queen Isabella's carefully orchestrated revelation was succeeding beyond expectation. Professor Zenth made one final attempt to discredit the presentation. Even if these files are genuine, what possible motivation would respected scientists have for such elaborate deception? Maya's answer struck with surgical precision. Control, Professor. Fear-based policies create populations willing to surrender freedoms for promised security. The protocols don't just segregate species, they create dependency on governmental protection from fabricated threats. The truth hung in the auditorium's crystalline air like a living thing, impossible to ignore or unsee. Lucas watched delegates from every major civilization grapple with evidence that their most basic beliefs were built on lies. The symposium's moderator finally broke the prolonged silence. Dr. Thompson, on behalf of the galactic scientific community, I thank you for this presentation. The evidence you've provided will require extensive review and verification. All supporting documentation has been transmitted to every research institution simultaneously, Maya replied. Independent verification can begin immediately. As delegates began filing out of the auditorium in stunned silence, Lucas remained beside Maya at the podium. The girl who had been humiliated at the academy had just delivered the most important scientific presentation in galactic history. Dr. Thompson, came a familiar voice from the departing crowd. Maya turned to see Nyx approaching with several other Velarian students from the academy. The young alien's expression was completely transformed from their previous encounter. I owe you an apology, Nyx said quietly. We all do. We genuinely believed human inferiority was scientific fact because that's what we were taught from childhood. Maya's response showed remarkable grace. You weren't at fault for believing lies you were told by trusted authorities, but now that you know the truth, what will you do with that knowledge? Nick straightened with new determination. Help spread the truth to others who've been similarly deceived, beginning with my own species. Lucas watched the interaction with deep respect for Maya's wisdom in transforming former tormentors into allies. Queen Isabella's faith in the girl's character had been thoroughly vindicated. As the auditorium emptied, Maya and Lucas found themselves alone on the vast stage where galactic history had just been rewritten. The young scientist looked exhausted but triumphant, having fulfilled a destiny she hadn't understood until days earlier. "Commander," she said softly, "will this actually change anything? Or will the conspirators simply find new ways to maintain control?" Lucas considered his response carefully. "Dr. Thompson, truth has a power that no conspiracy can ultimately suppress. You've given the galaxy proof of its own deception. What happens next depends on whether good people choose courage over comfort." Maya smiled, and Lucas recognized the expression of someone who had discovered her true purpose. "Then I suppose we'll find out what the galaxy is really made of." The throne room felt different when they returned, charged with the electricity of accomplished revolution. Queen Isabella awaited them with an expression of fierce satisfaction, having monitored the symposium's proceedings through real-time reports. "Dr. Thompson," the Queen said as they approached, "you have exceeded every expectation. The galaxy will never be the same." Maya performed a respectful bow before responding. "Your Majesty, I was merely the messenger. The real credit belongs to your intelligence network for uncovering the conspiracy, and your wisdom in orchestrating its exposure." "False modesty ill suits you, young scientist." Queen Isabella descended from her throne with regal grace. "You stood before the galaxy's most powerful figures and called them liars to their faces. That required courage no amount of preparation could provide." Lucas felt deep pride in both women as he witnessed this exchange between ruler and subject who had together changed the course of civilization. "Your Majesty, Dr. Thompson's presentation has already generated responses from 17 governments requesting independent investigations into their own scientific institutions." The Queen nodded with satisfaction. "The truth creates its own momentum once released. But we must be prepared for retaliation from those who benefited from the conspiracy." Maya's expression hardened with new resolve. "Let them come. I have more evidence than what was presented today. If they want a scientific war, they've chosen the wrong human to fight." Queen Isabella's laugh carried genuine warmth for the first time Lucas could remember. "Dr. Thompson, I hereby offer you a permanent position as Chief Scientific Advisor to the Human Crown, with full resources to continue investigating galactic frauds wherever they may be found." Maya's eyes widened at the unexpected honor. "Your Majesty, I'm deeply grateful, but I believe my work would be more effective if I remained technically independent. An official royal scientist's findings might be dismissed as politically motivated." The Queen's approval was evident. "Wise beyond your years. Very well, you shall have all the resources and protection of the Crown, without the official title. Commander Mitchell will continue as your permanent guardian." Lucas felt surprise at this development but immediately recognized its wisdom. Maya would need protection as long as powerful enemies remained threatened by her knowledge. "With respect, Your Majesty," Maya said carefully, "won't Commander Mitchell be needed for other royal duties?" Queen Isabella's smile turned predatory. "Dr. Thompson, keeping you alive and effective in your work is now the most important royal duty in the galaxy. Commander Mitchell's mission remains unchanged. Protect you. Enable your success. Ensure the truth continues to spread." Lucas stepped forward and formally saluted both women. "Your Majesty." "Dr. Thompson, it will be my honor to continue this service." As they left the throne room together, Lucas reflected on the extraordinary journey from protecting a humiliated academy student to guarding the scientist who had exposed the galaxy's greatest lie. Maya walked beside him with new confidence, no longer the frightened girl who had once considered fleeing Earth rather than facing alien skepticism. "Commander," she said as they traversed the palace corridors, "I have a confession. When I first arrived at the academy, I thought I might not be smart enough for advanced alien education. The humiliation made me doubt everything about human capabilities." Lucas considered his response carefully. "Dr. Thompson, the Academy's treatment of you was designed to create exactly those doubts. They needed you to feel inferior so you wouldn't question their supposed superiority." Maya nodded thoughtfully. "And now we've proven that human genetic diversity is actually an advantage in scientific innovation rather than an evolutionary weakness." "More than that," Lucas corrected. "You've proven that courage and integrity matter more than species classification. Today you showed the galaxy what humanity can accomplish when given opportunity rather than obstacles." Maya stopped walking and turned to face him directly. "Thank you, Commander. Not just for protecting me, but for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself." Lucas felt the weight of duty transforming into something deeper. Respect, partnership, shared commitment to a cause larger than either of them alone. "Dr. Thompson, the honor has been mine. Watching you transform from Academy victim to galactic truth-teller has been the privilege of my career." They continued through the palace toward Maya's new research facilities, both understanding that this was just the beginning of their mission together. The conspiracy had been exposed, but dismantling centuries of prejudice would require continued effort and unwavering dedication to scientific truth. Outside the palace windows, alien ships from dozens of species maintained vigil in Earth's orbital space, their crews eager to learn what other secrets might be revealed by the young human scientist who had already changed everything. Maya Thompson had begun her academic career as a humiliated outsider. She ended her first week as the galaxy's most important truth-teller, protected by the human queen's finest guardian, and empowered to continue reshaping civilization through courage and uncompromising science. The truth was spreading across the galaxy at light speed, carrying with it the promise of justice for all species willing to embrace evidence over prejudice. And at the center of it all, a former Academy outcast walked confidently toward laboratories where her next discoveries would continue transforming the galaxy's understanding of itself